Okay, hello, hello, hello. There is lots to talk about. It is so great to see you guys. I'm Dr. Jen Caudle. I'm a practicing family physician. I'm also an on-air health expert and video creator. Excuse me for that. It's great to be with you and to share some big news regarding the Johnson & Johnson COVID vaccine. I know many of you guys who have received the Johnson & Johnson vaccine have often said that you feel kind of left out, that you feel like, hey, what's going on with my vaccine? What I'm not hearing anything about Johnson and Johnson. And you're right. Part of it is that the Johnson and Johnson vaccine was rolled out after Moderna and Pfizer, and therefore the data was kind of, I don't know if we can say it's lagging, but it just didn't start as early as Moderna and Pfizer, right? So as time has gone by, we are getting more and more information, and I hope you all don't feel left out because we are all important. In fact, anyone and everyone, plus all these vaccines, are very important. So big news about Johnson & Johnson. We're going to sort of go through that today. First of all, I'd like for you guys who are watching, by the way, thank you for watching. Write in the comments which COVID vaccine you got. I'm curious to know sort of the ratios between those that got Pfizer, Moderna, Johnson & Johnson. Please let us know which vaccine you got. All right, so the details are that a second dose of the Johnson & Johnson COVID vaccine is being recommended by the FDA panel. This is an independent panel or committee that makes recommendations to the FDA. The FDA does not have to take this panel's advice or guidance, right? But it usually does. Once the FDA panel makes their recommendations, the FDA decides if they want to take the advice. And if so, then it goes on to the CDC. And of course, we've seen that with other vaccines. That's no different or would be no different than here with the Johnson & Johnson booster that's being recommended by this independent panel. The good news is that this was sort of unanimous, okay, in terms of those who were voting. Those who voted, actually, it was 19 to 0. Everybody on the panel voted to unanimously approve the second dose of the Johnson & Johnson vaccine, which is very exciting and also reassuring, right? Of course, we didn't necessarily expect much different. I mean, look, we had recommendations released for Moderna. Of course, we've had that for Pfizer, but it's still good to know that that's happening for Johnson & Johnson. This is a little bit different. As you guys know, the Johnson & Johnson COVID vaccine right now is one dose. That often has been sort of the convenience factor, right? I've given the one dose Johnson & Johnson vaccine. It's great for certain populations. It's great for people who don't like needles. It's great for people who just want one shot. But what, as we've found as time has gone on, is that the effectiveness is not quite the same as that of the mRNA vaccines, that is Pfizer and Moderna. And that's certainly come about. So the question is, do we need another dose? And in fact, many scientists have been recorded on record saying, hey, look, I really thought this always should have been a 2-dose vaccine. Many people have said. Anyway, whatever the case, we are at this point now where this FDA panel did approve a second dose of the Johnson & Johnson COVID vaccine. This is different than Moderna and Pfizer because this second dose would be given 2 months after the first shot. Different than what we have in terms of the rules for Moderna and Pfizer right now, which is 6 months after the series. Johnson & Johnson would be 2 months after the first shot. And the difference, another difference also here is that this second dose of the Johnson & Johnson vaccine is for people 18 and above. Now, remember with Moderna and Pfizer, those vaccines, at least the booster dose and the third dose, are for those people who fit certain criteria, right? Healthcare workers, they work or live in a place where they're high risk. They have underlying conditions. It's not for everyone who got Moderna and Pfizer. So that is a big difference right now, that this J&J booster is for people, all people who got Johnson & Johnson 18 and above. It would be given 2 months after the first dose. So I think that's important to understand. A couple of a few statistics for you guys to know that I think is really interesting in terms of how the shots pan out in terms of how many people got. 100 million people got the Pfizer vaccine, okay? And we compare that to Moderna. 70 million people got Moderna, and 15 million, that's 15 million, have gotten the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. So once again, this is excellent news because we're getting more and more data about Johnson & Johnson. And I mean, look, for the mRNA vaccines, we've known that effectiveness has decreased over time. But we also know that with J&J, the effectiveness is less than than that of the mRNA vaccine. So this is very important. We will now that the FDA committee has recommended this second shot for these people 2 months after, 18 and older, and for all people 18 and older who got Johnson & Johnson. This will need to go, the FDA will need to decide whether they take that recommendation. Okay. The FDA will decide if they want to take that recommendation or not. If they should, then that goes to the CDC panel to determine then the final recommendation. So, guys, as I always say, we're cooking with gas now. Things are kind of moving along. And it's going to be very important for us to watch these guidelines and for all of us to get these boosters as soon as we are able and they are approved. You might have also seen in the news that we are going through a time where more people in some instances are getting the boosters than they are the actual primary series. I'm happy that people are getting vaccinated, but we still want people who haven't gotten vaccinated to get vaccinated. That's still a major problem. And some statistics were recently released that I think are important to know. People who are unvaccinated, guys, are 11 times more likely to die of COVID than those who are vaccinated. I know we've talked about the risks of being unvaccinated, but we haven't talked about that in a while. And I think it's an important thing to remember. If you're unvaccinated, your risk of dying from COVID is 11 times more likely than someone who is vaccinated. And then speaking from the perspective of those who are vaccinated, right? Those who are vaccinated are 5 times less likely to get infected with COVID than those who are unvaccinated. And remember, nothing is 100%. Vaccines are not either. It is possible to get infected with COVID, even if you have the vaccine. But we know that you're less likely to get infected with COVID if you've been vaccinated. We also know that the severity of the illness, if you were to get infected with COVID and you've been vaccinated, is much likely to be less. And along those lines, those people who are vaccinated are 10 times less likely to be hospitalized or have severe illness. And guys, that's where a lot of the money is at right there. One of the things that allows me to sleep better at night as a physician, as a person, as someone, I just got off the phone with my parents, they're vaccinated. It makes me feel better to know that if I were to get COVID or my parents, God forbid, that their chance of being hospitalized or dying, God forbid, is a lot less. That's one of the most important things about this. So don't let the fact that it is theoretically possible to get infected with COVID once vaccinated, don't let that keep you from getting vaccinated. Remember, with the flu shot, the flu vaccine is not 100%. And on any given year, I don't know, I've gotten the flu shot in some years and still gotten the flu. Okay. And there are other vaccines the same way. So please understand that just exists because we don't have a vaccine that's 100%. In fact, what's 100% in life? Not much. So don't let that deter you. What should reassure you is that as the world's opening up and kids are back in school and things like that, we're back in the workplace, that what will protect you, that will keep you alive and likely well and healthy is this idea that you are vaccinated. So a lot of really important information here, a lot of great information about Johnson & Johnson. And I know this is important for all of you guys who've gotten Johnson & Johnson vaccine. Once again, those of you who have not written in the comments about which vaccine you got, I would love for you to, because I'd love to see what you've gotten. I also would love to know if you have gotten your booster already. I always like to ask this question, or if you have plans to get the booster. And along these lines, I just want to remind us that, of course, we're going to be in flu season for a while. Make sure you get your flu shot. Okay. Ideally, we want you to get your flu shot by the end of October, but if you don't make it by then, you can still get it after that. Technically, flu season goes from October to May. So there's a lot of time that we need to remain protected. So get that vaccine. And we know that as people are out and about now, it's going to increase our risk of not only COVID, but also other viruses and bacteria and things, and of course, the flu. You can get the flu vaccine and the COVID vaccine on the same day. I get them in different arms. You can get them done. I've done some videos on this. And that way you're just like one and done, as we say. So please do that. Please write in the comments if you've gotten your flu shot as well. By the way, I did get my flu shot. I documented that on a video. If you haven't seen that, check that out. And also, of course, my COVID vaccines. I got Moderna as my vaccine, and I'm just sort of awaiting for when I can go ahead and get my booster. Once I do, of course, I'll document that by video for you guys. Another thing I would say, too, is I know a lot of you guys are still trying to make up your minds about the vaccines. And by the way, thank you all for sending stars, for those of you on Facebook and for those of you on YouTube for sending the super chats and super stickers. Thank you so much. But this is the thing. I know many of you are maybe either on the fence or you're not sure or you're worried, and I get that, and that's okay. I do have a group called I Got the COVID Vaccine. That's on Facebook, where I want you to join and post your pictures of you getting your vaccine with your Band-Aid. Let us know what questions you have, what things you're worried about. It's a safe place. I get rid of all the trolls, so I would love for you to join. For those of you on Facebook, there is a pinned comment right underneath this the video where you can see all my different links, so you can actually join that group. And then also on YouTube, in the description of this video, you can find the link to my group called I Got the COVID Vaccine. We are making headway. Some other good news, though, too, just to give you good news, is that we're sort of on the other side of the peak. A month and a half ago, Delta is still very much around, of course, but a month and a half ago, more than that, we were really kind of steep in, going up that peak, and it was very, very scary. Thank goodness we've sort of come down. What we want is for us to continue coming down. And of course, the way that we do that is by continuing to get vaccinated, taking our friends and families to get vaccinated, wearing our masks, using hand hygiene, all that good stuff. And remember, we're coming into cold season, so other bugs are going to be floating around wanting to get their opportunity with us, like the flu and other pneumonia and all sorts of other stuff. So please, please, please keep that in mind, and just know that there is some good news here with the fact that I feel like we can breathe just a little bit. I was asked by a news reporter, what am I seeing on the ground? When I talk to my patients, there is a sort of a collective sigh that I think many of us can give, because we're not at that steep slope that we were just some weeks ago with COVID. So let's keep up this momentum. Let's keep this going. You guys are amazing. I'm seeing a lot of you guys write in with the shots that you got, which is awesome. Put your favorite emoji in. If you support the COVID vaccine, it's always my favorite part. I love doing that. And also, if you have any words of wisdom, I always say I like to ask you all for what you think, and I love you to comment, because oftentimes what you say actually helps other people who are watching these videos and reading comments too. One of the things I love to see is you commenting on each other's posts and sharing words of wisdom and giving advice and helping each other. So if any of you were on the fence about getting the vaccine and you did, would also love for you to write what got you off the fence or what helped you, what you did to kind of get over that hurdle, because I can pretty much guarantee that you're going to help someone else. So this is a lot of good news today, guys. Hopefully we will keep going with this trajectory and this momentum. Once again, Johnson & Johnson vaccine, for all of us who felt like it was forgotten, it has not been. It's being recommended officially by the FDA panel to get the second dose of that. So we'll just wait for the other committees to comment and say yay or nay, but hopefully yay. And again, that's 2 months after the first shot. That's for all people who got Johnson & Johnson 18 and above. That is, once again, different from Moderna and Pfizer, which is perfectly fine. So keep the comments coming. You guys are amazing. You are an amazing support. I'm so proud of us. When I say us, I mean the whole world. We are getting through this pandemic. And if you're watching this video, I don't mean to sound flippant or even rude or insensitive, but we've made it alive. And that really is something. We've lost 700,000 people in this country. And if you're watching this, that means you've made it. And we're still here. So let's celebrate that. And let's do everything we can to keep ourselves healthy and keep the other people around us healthy. So a lot of good news, guys. Keep the comments coming. Let us know, what you've done, what you think, what you're getting. Join my group called I Got the COVID Vaccine. It's in the pinned comment on Facebook and the description on YouTube as well. For those of you who have not liked and followed my page, please do. That's for Facebook. And for those of you who are on YouTube who've not subscribed to my channel or clicked the little bell, please do as well. I go live twice a week, guys. And consider joining my subscription groups as well for private lives and exclusive content. Guys, I'm Dr. Jen. Thank you again for everything. I love y'all. I'll be back with more updates very soon. All right, guys. We'll see you soon. Bye, YouTube.